Is war coming to the UK? Is it already here? Do we need to be worried? Is it going to be the year of 2027? Could it be sooner, later, or could it never happen? This video I've seen circulating online. I've been trying to figure out, is it real? Is it AI? Because you just don't know nowadays. I've not seen it before, so if you have seen this clip, do let us know in the comment section. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. It's an interview between Tommy Robinson and Middleton, two very well-known people in the UK right now who are really open and expressing their feelings on how the UK is, the current state of the UK, the issues we've got, and what needs to be done about it. Both very well liked, but both very well hated. But before we get going, just a massive shout out to all of you for who viewed, shared, liked and subscribed, and shout out to channel members, and head over to combatreadyhq.co.uk, link in the description for our coffee and t-shirts. But let's watch this clip and see what he's got to say and give us your thoughts. I'd be very interested to know what you do think of this. Very interesting conversation to hear this from Ant Middleton, former UK Special Forces soldier, and now looking to run as London's mayor at the next elections. So let's see what he's got to say.
Well, listen. This is what
rainbow flags.
This is what they're doing at the moment. Listen, the fight's still. You watch the fight that's happening now. Why do you think they're putting them in military bases right now? You think that's a coincidence? They're fortifying them, and there's a whole agenda that's happening underneath that is a lot more cynical, sinister, and a lot more darker than you think.
What do you mean by that? The people in being imported.
Yeah.
Are part of a wider
narrative,
military plan.
100%.
Because everyone says they're fighting age military, and I've seen some interviews of them basically all saying they're military, whether it be Afghani from different countries.
We are teeing ourselves up for the biggest disaster. I would say probably not next year, but in 27. There's a ringing through the grapevine that something's going to happen in 2027. If we don't stop these boats from coming over, if we don't stop these migrants from not only being housed in our hotels and then being moved into military bases, but they're setting up a whole militia, if you wish, I believe, and what I've heard, because my ear is very close to the ground, that's happening in the UK right now. It's not just a case of these immigrants are coming in. There's a lot darker forces that's happening.
And Middleton is. There you go. And I know a lot of you have been saying it. It's all over YouTube. It's all over the internet. You even comment on my videos. We hear this all the time. You know, the invasion, they're being imported. It's the government that are bringing them in. They're letting them in. But to have someone who currently has the status that Ant Middleton does have in the UK. We know he's big on immigration, cutting down crime in London and the UK. You know, that's sort of what his policies are to get into London, to make a more stable and safer Britain, and especially London. But for him to actually come out and say that is huge. Bearing in mind, if you look at it, we know, I don't care what anyone says, this is just pure facts and statistics, okay? Over 40,000 have come in on small boats in the last year, so from January to now. 37,000, I think it was just before that. Majority of them are men of fighting age. You know, that's a way to describe them. Fighting age males, okay? 18 to 30. So a lot of them try to claim to be children because they will get treated different. So they lose their documents, say they're younger than what they are. But we know the majority of them mostly between 1825, 1830. Let's say over 77,000 have arrived in 2 years. January 24 to date. The British Army regular forces is what, around 73,000, 72, 74, between 72 and 74. I can't remember the exact numbers. Yes, there's been a few women and children on these boats, but the majority have been men. So if what he is saying is correct, just in the last 2 years, there have been more coming in than the size of our British Army. That's regular forces, by the way, not including Royal Marines, Navy, Air Force and Reserves. In total, we've got about 150,000. Since records have been gun, from the top of my head, more than 150,000 have come in. You've had what, 40,000 this year, just over 37. I think it was like 35, and then I think it was like 40 again or something in 2022. There's an all-time high. 2021 a little bit less. So you do the maths, most probably, you know, close to 200, maybe more thousand. That's not including anyone that's come in through trucks, because I don't believe they're not counted in the small boat arrivals. Not anyone that's, you know, tried to claim asylum the legal route ways, so coming in obviously by ferry or plane and then settling in the UK, applying for visas or stuff, or trying to claim asylum that way. So if what he is saying is correct, a lot of people would look at that as extremely terrifying, because that's more than our armed forces combined. And yes, they've gone from like housing to hotels. We're looking back to housing, and they are using military bases. You know, we are using military barracks to now house them. You know, the government have set out that that is what's happening. Could they be training them? You know, people call it conspiracy theories, but we're just, you know, we're just piecing it all together, and we like to break it down and analyze it and see what's going on. But you know, you're looking at it from both sides. Yeah, people, you know, they're trying to claim asylum, but when you look at it from Ant Middleton's point of view, you look at the attacks that are going on. You know, people could say, look at all the countries that they've come through. Say an Eritrean goes from Eritrea, goes from Italy, up through Italy, you know, and then through Germany, into France. We're going to cover this in another video as well, but apparently there's documentation proof that they're getting to France, they're claiming asylum in France, it's being approved, and then they're still making their way to the UK. What is that reason for? We could look at it in many different ways. Is it for money? We know our benefit system. We know they get hotels, they get phones, they get free food, they get a weekly allowance, NHS doctor and dental appointments, which most British citizens can't even get. So you could say, you know, you got one half saying they're coming over because, you know, they're claiming asylum from a freeing country. No, a lot of them actually aren't coming from a war-torn country. Some of them maybe, but the majority of them aren't. Next one, benefits. They're coming for the money. Yeah, most probably. They most probably are. If you could work extremely hard in your country, or you could make your way to the UK and get given everything for free for doing absolutely nothing. Or on the other hand, you could look at Ant Middleton, Tommy Robinson, and what a lot of other people saying is that these fighting age males, we know for a fact when they get to the UK, they are committing crimes. They are getting hands on weapons. We've seen videos with knives, even with guns. They are getting their hands on guns when they arrive. You've seen the videos. So why are they doing that if they are coming here to claim asylum, to live freely? You know, you can analyse it from all different angles, but is what Ant Middleton's saying is correct? I would want to know what your thoughts are on this, because he could be going in the right direction, couldn't he? The amount that have come across, their gender, their ages, the fact they are committing crimes when they come here, they are getting their hands on weapons. You know, we know for a fact that the government could stop this. We've seen Raise the Colours go over to France. There's no one patrolling the beaches. You see them standing, collecting food, holding their life jackets. Okay, cool. You can see them there holding their life jackets, ready to come across. Right, now let's quickly deploy our forces. Let's put security out on the beaches and prevent these from running into the water and getting on the boats. It is so easily done to stop this. It makes what they're saying so true. It would be so easy to deploy police forces, border force and soldiers on French beaches to stop these boats. So easy. But why aren't they? We've given French all the money, but why is nothing being done about it? Why are we not doing a partnership? So when Ant Middleton comes out and says something like this, whether it's true or not, it makes it even more believable when you look at what is going on. Yeah, it could be true. It really could be. Because it could be stopped. These boats could have been prevented. You could have kept the Rwanda scheme going on. Easy, massive deterrence. You could really sit down with France and say, look, we're going to send you loads of soldiers, border force, police, and we will patrol the beaches with you. We will prevent them from getting into the water. But they won't. They won't. Because is there something more to this? Comment below what your thoughts are. Like I said in previous video, war is coming, war is here, or is there even more to come? Please do comment below what your thoughts are on this. I'd be very interested to know what you've got to say. Once again, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, share, like, comment. I appreciate all the support, and we'll see you soon.